meaning of the laughter. When we are doing ha ha ha, then our thyroid is stimulating. It's working very well, especially in the morning when you are doing. And the parapharmons is also give you the positivity throughout the day. So I request everyone who are listening to M and all of us that you just smile a day, especially in the morning when you woke up from the bed. Just smile for a few seconds and
You're breaking up. We missed what you just said, Deepak. Hopefully he'll come back. Yeah. So I think one of the things he's saying, and Uta and Chanel, and I know M, you probably can go ahead. You can attest to the fact that the smiling is connected directly to the heart. It's like one nerve, one whatever they call it. I don't know. So that does affect, just smiling affects the heart.
Absolutely. There was a study in Germany, I believe it was 4 German scientists. They got a group of people to hold chopsticks, and they got them to hold them sideways like that, downwards, downwards like that, or no chopstick. And they discovered that the just even by inducing those facial muscle changes, so by stimulating that smile through holding the chopstick. Why they didn't ask them to smile, I don't know, but they did it with the chopstick. Yeah, that was not effective. And so what they found was that they were able to that change of facial muscles led to release of neurochemicals, causing that positive mood and improved well-being. So even just holding your pencil sideways instead of downwards, but that's just proves that we can do that with our smile. So, and absolutely.
Okay, we're all sort of, you can see us, we're all sort of taking our pencils into our mouth and are trying this out.
I'm afraid mine will end up in my nose. I don't think that'd be very pretty. So should we start to talk about, actually, I want to talk about the health factors, but I'm also very curious to see and do a breathing with laughter, or however that looks. But Uta, Chanel, you chime in here anytime.
I think before we start, because once we start laughing, I have the feeling we're going to continue laughing, and then this might drown. So can we hone in on the health benefits of laughter and laughter yoga at this point? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So, in terms of physical benefits, I think you've got things like it's toning the digestive system. So just by using those abdominal muscles in that laughing process, we're toning our digestive system, which so many people, patients, so many of us in the world can have that sluggish. We sit so much, don't we? So if we can be just giving it like an internal jogging session by not actually jogging, because some people I love a good jog. I feel like a gazelle when I jog. I think I probably don't look like it, but I feel like it. So we're toning the digestive system. We're also improving the circulatory system. So I did laughter yoga all through winter, and it would be the one time I would be stripping off my clothes. I would just get really lovely and warm. So we're improving our circulation, and also we're strengthening our respiratory system. And in terms of other things we can do, we can lower our blood pressure. There was a research study from India showing that 10 minutes laughter yoga was able to help reduce the blood pressure by 10 to 20 mils. There's a German study out there that compared stomach crunches to laughing, and actually found that laughter yoga was more beneficial for activating those abdominal wall muscles than doing stomach crunches. So really,
that's a good one.
I knew I showed up today for the right reason.
That's me. I've gotten all year, I think.
How is that even possible? I mean, how is it the isometrics? Is it the when you're laughing, I guess you're moving your stomach muscles.
When you're doing those belly laughs, your stomach is really activated. And
Why am I not thin? I laugh a lot.
how often do you laugh, like for a longer period of time? Because if we're talking like 10 to 15 minutes.
Enough where I can't catch
laughter a
my
day.
breath sometimes. I mean, does anybody else have that issue? You ever laugh where you can't catch your breath?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we can't get through a meeting without one of us not being able to get that.
Good. That sounds a healthy meeting.
Oh, we're a
can't
very healthy
imagine-
homeopathic
yeah.
group.
I can't imagine many more meetings around the world where people say things like that. That's a good sign. What are the research? Things like
It's a fabulous team.
more restful sleep. There's a study about Norman Cousins, who was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis, who found that I think he did 20 minutes, half an hour of laughter, and he was able to get 2 hours of pain-free sleep after it. So pain reduction, obviously a reduction in stress, and with depression as our leading cause of disability in the world now, anything that improves that stress and reduces depression has to be worth signing up for, I reckon, these days. So loads of, obviously we're boosting our endorphins, our serotonin, our happy hormones, reduction of pain. We there is technical details about how it boosts the immune system. I haven't got them here right now, but a boost of the immune system. And then we know that, don't we? When we feel better, we're just much more able to do our daily life. It's really easy. Just makes sense, really, because our body and mind as well. I think it's really important to say. And if anybody watching hasn't seen the TED Talk by a lady called Amy Cuddy about power poses, that's really worth a watch. I love a good TED Talk, especially when I'm making dinner, chopping the veg and TED Talk. And she talks about that two-way relationship between our body and mind. If we're feeling depressed and we're sat, down like this, we're not going to laugh as much for a start. But, as soon as we start to open up, stand up, chances are we're going to start to feel a little bit better in our mind as well as in our body. And I think laughter yoga can bring that. We can laugh through all sorts of adversity. We had our pet lizard died. We'd had him quite a lot of years, and it was kind of quite traumatic finding him. I'd got a laughter yoga session, I don't know, half an hour after I found him, and I'm like, I don't think I can go to that. And my partner's going, crack on, get in there. It's going to be much better for you. And yes, there was the grief and the shock, but actually being able to deal with it from a much better place was so positive. And reading stories of people going through grieving, turning up still to laughter yoga sessions, really it doesn't take it all away and make it all better, but to be able to deal with things in a better space, I think laughter yoga can bring us that as well.
And then I guess this would be a good time to how do you use both homeopathy and laughter yoga in your practice? I mean, what is the pattern? Is it somebody comes in? I mean, maybe there is no pattern, but give us a scenario of a client, that comes in for whatever, and how you would utilize both.
I would say I don't. So I primarily I'm a homeopath. My laughter yoga is something that I do at events. I did this weekend at a homeopathy college. We had 9 students with us laughing. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous place to be in that room. And I do the online sessions UK time Tuesday 5:30 and 7 o'clock on a Friday morning. So they're totally separate. People are welcome to come along to them that are clients. I'm just thinking now I've got a few clients that come to them and a few people who I know from elsewhere. They're not huge sessions, so they're very unintimidating if anyone wants to. Mm-hmm. I don't massively promote them. I do it for myself and for the people who come along. And yeah, event days, so being at sort of like days of happiness set up with a friend, and turning up to that and doing laughter yoga with a big room full of people is just a really gorgeous experience. But no, it's generally not kind of mix and match / it's a totally standalone thing that I do. Mm-hmm. And it's a great practice to remember at home. Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just, the question just popped up for me. Do you think it has potential in the treatment of patients? I'm thinking of depression and sadness, of melancholy.
I think it has a lot of potential, yeah, and probably I could incorporate the two more. I tend to, yeah, I haven't intertwined them, to be honest. It has been a separate, if you want to come along to this, but I do think maybe even teaching people to laugh alone can be helpful. Get up, spend 5-10 minutes doing some laughter exercises yourself, and definitely I think it can have a huge benefit in terms of
and is there a remedy that would be a good remedy for someone who is having, let's say, laughter issues?
Just to do it, I think we forget how, as kids, probably, some people I think I was more serious as a child than I am as an adult, actually. Life was, I took it quite seriously. But I do, I think ultimately our constitutional remedy is where I think we bring so much into balance, and we're able to move forward in a gentler, more graceful way in life often. But just giving it a go and laughing. And I think it's so beautiful. We have these, I'm a bit of a neuropsychology geek as well. We have these mirror neurons, they're called, in our brains. So if we see somebody else laughing, we're going to laugh. If you're stood in front of a mirror, our brain isn't that intelligent. So I think we start to laugh ourselves, and we're seeing somebody laugh in front of us. It sounds like my parents' puppy who thinks there's another dog there. But anyway, just 1 second, let me double check on something.
Well, isn't that exciting? What a super topic.
It would. Can I ask you
Sorry,
something?
in life's adversity moments, my partner's gone out and left the door locked. Just let my daughter in. I'll be right back.
Sure, we can.
Of course.
So, I think it's very interesting, and I'd love to know more how laughter becomes a remedy or something that's more used in homeopathy. What a proving.
Oh yeah.
Put it on the
That'd
list.
be interesting. Put it on the list.
Very
Yeah,
long
we could. Very long list already. Yes, it's very exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah, but laughter is medicine. That's what people say. So it's interesting. It is medicine in a way, and in the form, I've never heard of it as yoga per se. So I'm excited to see if she does some exercises with us, so we learn a little bit. I don't know if we can increase the amount of laughter we've already had on the show today, but let's give her a try.
I did, before we do move on, I did want to ask, because you did speak about being a very serious child, and for children to come in, and I know that generally speaking, a lot of children will laugh at almost anything. Anything is funny. But what about that child that does have a little bit of trouble and is very serious and very concerned about things? Could they join your laughter session, your laughter yoga sessions? And is it open to anybody and any age group?
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lovely story in Dr. Kataria's book I was just revisiting about a chap who came along to the session, didn't want to get involved, sat and watched. He'd got quite a lot of illness and health stuff going on. And actually went home, took his blood pressure, and his blood pressure had gone down. So he'd got the benefits of laughter just from sitting in that room surrounded by people laughing. So absolutely, I think really anyone can come up, anyone can show up, come to the sessions. And I feel that hopefully, even after, if it took a couple of sessions, people could gradually start to feel more happy to laugh in it, less inhibited, and just be content to be in the space. But I do think once you start, you know what it's like yourselves. You're clearly a group of brilliant laughers. Someone's laughing, and you almost, just almost joining in, and just for no reason, which is the best way to be laughing, really. So, what was I going to say? When I was there on the Saturday, leading this laughter yoga session, the principal of the college was sorting other things out. She's like, "It was so gorgeous hearing the laughter from your room. It made me want to laugh, even though I wasn't in the session." So I think that distance is fine too, and people can take it in their own time. There's no pressure, really is. And with my sessions online, I have people who, for whatever reasons, don't want to put their camera on, that's absolutely fine. They can laugh if they want to just, you know, I like it if the sound, because it's great to hear other people laugh. But equally, you know, people are welcome to rock up and just be themselves. There's no pressure to laugh or not laugh. Yeah.
Well, you have to share the details of your sessions with us. We're going to put them on the website so people can join in, because this is obviously something that everybody should try, in particular after the couple of years that we've now had where we had little to smile about. So perhaps a laughter session will do good and will change the energy of the world a little bit. That's brilliant so far. But do you have any questions, Marilyn, Chanel, Deepak?
Deepak left.
Because then I'd like to. Oh, okay, his internet connection wasn't so good then. Okay, well, I would like to ask Em to do an exercise with us.
Of course. So in terms of doing a laughter yoga session, there's 4 stages to a session. The first one is clapping and chanting. And
Hold
we'll do
on
that
one
together.
second. Can I just hold on 1 minute? I just want to interrupt. So listen, everyone, it's not just us that are going to do this. Everybody, wherever you are, take a moment and follow us. Let us experience this together, even if we're not here and we can't hear you. The energy of laughter, we'll all feel each other. So let's, wherever you are, thousands of you, let's do this together. Okay, I'm going to be quiet now and listen.
No pressure with the thousands of you, but hey, welcome. So yeah, 4 stages to a laughter yoga session. Our first is clapping and chanting. Our second is our deep breathing. Our third is childlike playfulness, and that's where I invite you to bring that inner child that doesn't matter, that doesn't need to pay a mortgage, be serious, worry about, you know, what the weather's doing or whatever. And the fourth is our laughter exercises. So if you guys are okay, I'll go through all of them, and we'll do maybe a couple of laughter exercises. Wow. And then
Perfect.
I love your point. I love the point about that laughter energy filtering out. Dr. Madame Kataria talks about how laughter can bring peace to the world, because we're almost vibrating at a higher energy, aren't we? I'm amongst homeopaths and friends here. We're raising that vibration ourselves, so we're just emanating that more positive vibrations, and we're not going to go out and start a war if we're busy laughing. It's just pointless, you know. So world peace and laughter. So we always end our sessions with, when I do the sessions online or in person, with a minute of laughter for world peace, which is a really lovely intentional thing too. So let's dive in. Our clapping and chanting, we go ho ho ha ha ha. So it's always in that rhythm. So ho ho ha ha ha, ho ho ha ha ha, ho ho ha ha ha. You guys aren't doing enough loud enough ho ho ha ha ha. Uta, Chanel, unmute.
All right, let's ho ho and ha ha.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Let's ho ho and ha ha.
Do it again. And stretch wherever you need a stretch to. So, you know, if you want to stretch up there, or you've been working and your shoulders are tight, wherever you like, we're just going to go ho ho ha ha ha. Well, we clap. Let's do it. So, ho
Ho ho ha ha ha.
ha. Ho ho
Ho
ha ha ha. Ho ho ha ha ha.
Ho ho ha ha ha.
ha
Ho ho.
ho ha ha ha.
Oh.
A bit faster. Ho ho ha ha ha.
Ho ho ha ha.
Ho ha ha.
There's a few people on this call I'm not hearing ho-hoing and ha-haing. So if Deepak, you must unmute and be part of the ho-ho and ha-ha, or pick a ho and ha, or do something. I'm not. You must ho and ha at the same time. You cannot be without hoing and haing.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody has to ho and ha.
Hey guys, let's go one more time. So ho ho ha ha ha.
Ho ho.
Can somebody take a shot of this picture of us doing this, like on this back end?
It'll get
Can
better,
somebody do
Marilyn.
that? Okay. Oh, can somebody take a screenshot? Ho ho ha ha.
Oh, there we go. Ho ho ha ha ha.
Oh, 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 ha, ha.
Amnon, you need a little practice.
I thought that's what I'm doing.
try a little harder. Try a little harder.
Just to say, in the yoga session, it's very
It's not that hard, is it? This is for real.
But I may bring Marilyn to crack the whip next time. So you can see, even just by articulating the ho, ho, ha, ha.
Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. We talk all the time, folks, about how loud and crowded the digital world is. So you need professionals like the folks at Oak City Tech to help you get your message to your current clients and, more importantly, future clients. So if you go to oakcitytech.com, tell them what you're looking for. I know Drago and his team will be able to help you. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Each week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a local small business success story. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. We have 31 chapters and about 520-ish members each week getting together, and our goal is to help everybody else grow their business. And today we're moving a little bit south to our friends in Fayetteville. The Hall of Famers chapter, Libby Woolcock, who is the vice president, incoming vice president as of 2 days ago. We'll talk about that in a minute. She is with the group. It's Hall of Famers. So if you want to understand the humor in that group, it's FAYMERS. And they meet Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. online. Libby, how are you today?
I'm fabulous.
Survived the storm and everything over the weekend?
We did, thankfully.
All right, so Libby is with Comparion Insurance. They are a Liberty Mutual company, so it's actually perfect timing that we have you on, and we'll get into that in just a minute. Your chapter is one of the few that decided to stay on Zoom. Why was that, and how's it going so far?
It worked for us, so it's going great. We are growing. We are actively still passing business. We are moving and shaking, so it's going great for us. We still do our socials in person, where we meet, once a month or so in person, and rub elbows and kiss babies, because we're still having babies. We had a new baby that was born in our chapter just this month. We are excited to meet him, but we are still meeting every week on Zoom, and it works for us really well, I think.
I get on quite a few Zoom calls for different reasons, and your chapter, and I've told you guys this publicly, I'm amazed at the way you can get 28 plus people involved in a conversation in open networking. I was just amazed by it the first time on there. I get it now, having been on a few, but your group, I mean, everybody's jumping in with a comment or a shot about this topic of the day.
I always laugh about it because I always say I feel like we look like the Muppets, on Zoom screen. And I'll say I'm relatively new to this chapter. This chapter has been around for, 15 years at least. And I jumped in this last year. And they welcomed me with open arms. That was one of the reasons why I said, this is my chapter, right? This is the one I need to be in, because the cohesiveness of this chapter and the family feel of this chapter is, you walk in, you just know that you have a group of people here who want to be here, who want to support each other's businesses, and who want to work with and for each other. And I think that that's part of what makes our group so unique and makes it work so well.
What made you get into BNI, and why that group? What clicked there?
Initially, I started at BNI in Kentucky. I'm a military spouse. And so I started and founded a chapter in Kentucky when we were stationed at Fort Knox. And I saw the value there of building these chapters out and seeing the referrals. I saw a lot of business that was grown there. And so when we got orders to come to Fort Bragg, I said, I need to find a BNI chapter. And so I started looking, and it just so happened that here in Fayetteville, this seat was open. And so it was the second one that I visited, and I said, this is it. It was that open networking like you're talking about. That I said, this is it for me. I need to be part of this chapter. And so I immediately put in my application. I was like, gosh, I hope the fact that I don't know anybody in Fayetteville, I know like 2 souls in Fayetteville, does not deter them from accepting my application. But I think that they saw, this girl's been in insurance for a real long time, and she's going to start knocking on some doors, and she just needs a network to start passing business. And they accepted me.
My wife is an Air Force brat. So her mother is a military wife, and her sister is a military wife. Her husband was a C5 nav. And it's an interesting life because what does your husband do in the military?
My husband works in special ops.
Okay, so gone a lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can say that.
Okay, good. All right. It's interesting that you're always on call. And what I learned is you got to be pretty organized, especially when you throw family into it, and kind of almost be ready to move whenever they say, hey, you're moving.
We got 21 days from, hey, you're going to this place to be there. This time. Last time it was 10.
Okay.
So you are right on the money there.
Oh, yeah. Logistics you better be good at, and you better be good at, all right, that's what's happening today. So
yes.
you knew that going into it when you met Chris, right?
No. I met my husband when I was 12 years old. And we actually did start dating when I was 12 years old. We dated for 3 months, and he dropped the L word, and I was like, oh, I'm not prepared for this. And so I broke up with him. And then about 2 years later, we were like, oh, I think I like you again.
Yeah.
Mind you, I was in high school at that point.
There you go.
So sophomore. And
Right.
yeah, same thing. Dated him again for 3 months. And he was like, hey, I think I love you. And I was like, I am not prepared for this. And so I broke up with him. And then a couple years later, I got a new phone, and I get a text message. Hey, what's up? I'm like,
who did?
What everybody does. New phone, who dis, right? And he says, it's Chris. How many Chris's do you know?
Yeah.
Well, like a bajillion. Okay, so I'm like, as soon as I send back Chris who, I'm in the living room with my mom, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Chris Woolcock. And I get back Woolcock. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, we're out on a date, and the rest is history.
There you go. So how many places have you lived in?
We've lived in Houston, and then Louisville, and now Fort Bragg.
All right. And do you have any idea how long you'll be here?
We should be here for the rest of his career, ideally.
Oh, good. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But when we got married, he was not a soldier. He decided 5 years into our marriage that this was his calling. I had a 4-month-old at home, and he texted me and said, I think I want to join the Army.
Yeah.
And I was like, you think you want to what? What? And next thing I know, he sweared in and joined in the Army. No, he had my full support, obviously.
Good.
And it's been one of the best decisions we've ever made for his career and our family.
Good.
And it's been a fabulous ride. But it was definitely not something that when I said my vows that I was like, yeah, this is going to be a part of our marriage. This is going to be a part of our lives.
Why not? So getting back to the insurance world, your industry is one of those, insurance, blah, 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 stuff, whatever, I got it. I have no idea what I've got until you know you need it, which is kind of when a big old storm comes through, whether it's a hurricane or the aftermath of. Okay, now we've had one come through the area. What do we now need to make sure we have in our policy should another one come through?
I think at this point, we need to make sure that your home insurance has the right rebuild cost. That's the first thing I look at when people ask me to check their insurance policies for their homes. Do you have enough insurance? Or do you have the right amount? So I always call it the Goldilocks method. Not too hot, not too cold, just right? Not too much, not too little, just right. And the reason for that is because you don't want to be paying for insurance that you're never going to be able to use. That's having too much. And you don't want to have too little because then you won't have enough to rebuild your home in a total loss. The other thing is you want to look and make sure that you have a policy that's called an open peril policy. Perils are things that cause damage to your home. Think about lightning, hail, hurricanes, fire, those types of things. An open peril policy is one that is going to cover everything that could ever happen to your house, with the exception of the regular exclusions. Those are things like flood, earthquake, war, neglect, wear and tear, those types of things. Most policies will exclude specific things on them, and they're usually a short list if you have an open peril policy. The other thing is you want to make sure that you have what's called replacement cost coverage on your policy.
Yep.
And that pays to replace whatever was damaged to the same like, kind, and quality that it was before. When I talk about this particular coverage, I oftentimes use my Instant Pot, because I will say I am an Instant Pot aficionado chef, okay? If you want to come to my house and you want to eat dinner, it's probably coming out of an Instant Pot. And if it's not coming out of an Instant Pot, it's coming out of an air fryer, because that's the only way I'm getting dinner on the table. I'm a working mom. I'm busy. That's how it's happening. And so to say that my Instant Pot has seen better days would be an understatement.
Okay.
And when you go and you have a claim on these things, the insurance companies will usually come in and play what's called actual cash value. And that's going to be like what it would cost at a garage sale, what it's worth right now after you used it and you've banged it up and you've made like God knows how many pots of mac and cheese in it, right? Those Instant Pots are usually like $120. They're not cheap. But in the way that mine sits right now, somebody might pay me $20 for it because it's seen better days. You want the replacement cost, because I need Amazon to come bring me one tomorrow or my family's going to starve. That's going to cost $120.
Okay.
The difference between those two is the replacement cost. Buy that endorsement.
Yeah.
That's a big difference after you've paid your deductible. You don't want to pay your deductible and then have to go buy and pay that gap between actual cash value and replacement cost.
Should we walk through our house and video what we own, everything, or just make a list of TVs and jewelry and things like that? How do we track all this?
If you know a storm is coming, like we knew Hurricane Ian was coming, I do recommend, go videotape everything, get the serial numbers, take an inventory of everything that you can. Are we going to do that on the regular? No. You're not going to say, oh, I bought this new shirt and I need to take an inventory of that. I just had a birthday party. Let's take an inventory of all my gifts. That's strange. But, we generally have an idea of the big basic things in our home. When you have a large claim where everything is gone and you have to replace every single thing in your home, that's where it gets very difficult to remember. I had a cheese grater. I had, this toothbrush. I had all of these iPhone cables, right? Those are things that go unnoticed until you're like, oh, I needed to replace that. And so, yes, having a video of everything in your home is helpful. But at the end of the day, if you have a complete and total loss, a lot of times they just cut the check for policy limits so that you can just go out and rebuy it.
Yeah. And I think where we all get into trouble, of course, I won't confirm or deny if I fall into this category, is what's boxed up in our garage and what's boxed up in our attic, and couldn't tell you 3/4 of the boxes. It's labeled, but I couldn't tell you exactly what's in there.
A lot of things also people don't consider is stuff that's in storage off-site. You may or may not have coverage for that depending on your policy. So that's another thing to bring up with your agent.
Okay. Yeah.
That's policy dependent.
Wow. And then rebuild, if you bought the house at $300,000 7 years ago and it's worth $415,000 today, if you buy the right policy, do you get reimbursed at $415,000 or $300,000?
Depends. That would be the replacement cost value, right? And it depends on what the house is worth. Are you talking? A lot of people, when they buy their house, they bought with land, right? We don't insure the land.
Right.
That land is going to be there regardless of whether, Auntie Em takes the house away. So a lot of people will say, oh, well, my house is worth $415,000. Well, the real estate that you bought was worth $415,000, but that also included the land with it. So you also have to think about those things. So when I sit and I counsel with my clients, I look totally just at the structures on the house. The personal property inside of it, which is the stuff, that is a formula that follows how much the structures are worth. So all of that is totally dependent on what the structure's worth.
But if it costs $415 to rebuild the house tomorrow, is that what you get? Am I asking this question right?
Are you asking, does the policy change automatically based on rebuild cost?
But yeah, or an appraisal cost. Yeah, I guess I am.
It depends. Only what the policy pays out is what's on the policy. So that's why it's important to stay in touch with your insurance agent. If you have $350,000 on the policy, but your house actually costs $450 to rebuild,
Okay,
you're only getting $350.
gotcha. So annually check in with your agent?
I tell my clients every other year.
Okay.
Yeah, because it doesn't normally change every year. The other thing is people have life changes,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Not only does the cost of goods and services change, but I just did a major renovation on my kitchen. Some people do that, every other year. Some people may redo their kitchen 1 year and their bathrooms 2 years after that. So those types of things do impact the rebuild cost on your home. The other thing is you may have a new job. You
Yep.
may have more wealth. You may have other things that impact the way that your homeowner's insurance needs to protect you in liability situations. All of those things are things that you need to speak to your insurance agent about, because it's not just how do we rebuild your home, it's how do we protect all of the assets that you've accumulated.
Yeah, and I think we all fall into the category of, oh, I didn't tell you that we redid our kitchen, did I, Libby?
Yeah. Oh,
So-
I didn't tell you we got that trampoline. Oh, I didn't tell you we got the puppy. Oh, we got a pool too.
My favorite, and I've heard this story before from other insurance agents, my favorite is, oh, yeah, we sold that car 9 months ago.
Yeah, I have had, oh, we sold that house a year and a half ago. And you're like,
Oh,
oh.
that's,
Okay.
yeah, so that's kind of
Cool.
something. You have a question, Amnon?
Two things. First of all, I want to go back to what Mike asked you. So, what is "quote unquote" replacement cost if the policy says $350, but the house now to rebuild is $450? So, why would they only pay $350 if it's replacement cost?
Because you're only insured up to the $350,000 limit.
Okay,
So there's a limit of insurance.
So it's not really replacement cost as of today. It's whatever the top of the policy. Okay. Now, what happens in a case like ours, like with that storm? You have your car parked in the driveway and a tree falls on it. And the car is not new, so you don't have full coverage on it. Does homeowners take care of that?
No. And the tree's another thing we'll come back to, but the car itself would be covered under comprehensive coverage if it were covered. That's another thing. You can carry comprehensive coverage without carrying collision coverage.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Comprehensive
that's right.
coverage is typically very, very inexpensive, particularly on older vehicles. So that would be things that typically happen while the vehicle's not moving. So things like lightning, theft, vandalism, hail, trees falling. The only thing I think that happens to the vehicle while it's moving is if you hit an animal while it's alive. That would be considered comprehensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been told that, and I think I remember this right, that if you see that deer coming across the interstate or across the road, hit the deer, because if you swerve and wreck your car, that's a different conversation.
I mean, and also, like, more often than not, it's safer just to hit the deer.
Yes. Yes.
Most driving instructors will tell you just hit the deer. It's safer for you just to hit the deer.
Sadly, but yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that is unfortunate, but at the end of the day, we want to save people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And so let's go back to the tree. My favorite question is, okay, it's your neighbor's tree that fell on your car.
Yeah, a lot of people have that question. My neighbor's tree fell on my house. I'm liable, right? There's that conversation. If the tree was healthy, most of the time people will say, it's just your insurance. Like if the tree was healthy and it was lightning, hail, wind, your insurance is going to handle it on your property. If the tree was not healthy, and you've like had the conversation that the tree needs to be removed and they've been negligent and not removed it, there's a lot to prove there that you could sue them, that then potentially, but that's a very, very heavy burden to prove.
And costly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very heavy burden to prove.
Yeah. The other thing I've learned from insurance agents, and this is for everybody watching today, when was the last time you heard from your insurance agent as we grade what makes a good insurance agent?
Yeah. And I will say that is a difficult conversation to have because as insurance agencies become larger and larger, it's more difficult to have those conversations. The other thing is that a lot of times people don't want to be bothered when their insurance policies are fine.
Yep.
Right? So a lot of times it's just an email where we say like, hey, thanks for your business. We're renewing your policies. Some people really don't want to hear from us unless there's a problem.
But what I like is the email just to it makes me stop and think, did we add anything? Or did we, or did we sell anything? So I don't mind the email because I see the header pop up. It's like, all right, no, same cars, same house, same, and just kind of makes us go through a mental checklist. So from that standpoint, I'm okay with that.
Right. And in my agency, when we have renewals, I send out an email that says, hey, your policy is coming up for renewal. Here's a checklist. Have you had any of these changes in the last year? If you have, please send them back to me. And if you need to have a renewal review with me, here's some time that you can schedule for it. And we do that with my agency. I will say probably 90% of my clients don't schedule time to review their policies just because they don't need to make any changes, but the option's always there.
Well, and we see the new kitchen every day, and after a while, we're used to seeing it as part of life, and we forget, right? But and then we forget to tell. It's like, oh gosh, that's right, we did do that. I forgot, because throw in kids, 2 jobs, this, that, or the other, COVID, stuff like that. You're like, oh yeah, that's right, we forgot to tell you.
Right, and then you're like, oh well, the puppy, he's fine. He's not a puppy anymore. We got through the stage where he's eating everybody's shoes. Maybe we don't need to insure him anymore.
Yep. And I've had a couple of insurance agents on, and I see if I phrase this question the correct way without getting you in trouble on anything. What is the most unusual request you've had to insure something?
I guess the most unusual one, I have been able to insure a Super Bowl ring. That was pretty cool.
A Super Bowl ring?
Yeah, that was cool. That's like that's my coolest story that I've not been able to do again.
Whose ring?
I don't get to share that.
Nice. I like it. I'm good with that. That's cool.
It's unusual, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to do that very often.
Now, so was there a lot of homework you had to do on that for comps?
No, because they actually do give an appraisal with the ring.
Oh,
so
nice.
that was very easy to do, but I was shocked because I was like, you don't have this insured?
Yeah, the smart ones do, yeah. Oh, very cool.
I was like, no, I don't have this insured. I probably ought to. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of, yeah. You want that replaced if something happens, yes. Oh, very cool. I like that. All right, so you and I share a number of connections to the state of Texas. So I'm going to start with, you got your Bachelor of Art degree in marketing at Texas State.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to take issue with that because my wife went to Southwest Texas State.
Well, she must have partied a little more than I did.
Well, she was there a little bit before you were too, and yes, she did party a great bit there because it was a good school. For those who don't know, it's in San Marcos, Texas. My wife graduated just about an hour or so earlier than you did, Libby. We'll just leave it at that, okay? And it was Southwest Texas, and they later, was that in the 2000s or the late 90s? Okay, when they changed it to Texas State. I guess they thought if we need to get a direction off of our name so people will take us more serious, but she refuses to call it Texas State. So
yes, there is a heel digging that goes on with Southwest Texas grad.
Yes,
because yeah, I understand. I would be upset about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
it's in San Marcos, Texas, between San Antonio and Austin. It's in the foothills. And yes, there are hills in Texas. I did not know that till I moved there.
It's the hill country.
It is, yeah, excuse me, the hill country, and it is beautiful there. Now, my wife also tells me you can tell a senior co-ed at Southwest Texas State because the size of her calves, because you walk so much up and down
It's
hills.
accurate.
And Amnon's laughing, but a woman told me that, so I'm repeating only what a woman told me.
Okay, I will share a story with you that she will laugh at this. I had a class when my junior year of school that I had to take Spanish for my foreign language, and it was in the education building. And I was at the bottom of the education building, and my class was on the third floor of the education building, and I had to go from the education building all the way across campus to the business building. And from the bottom of the education building to the top of the education building was 3 floors.
Okay.
And I did not realize this, but I was going up the hill to get to like across campus.
Mm-hmm.
There was an elevator that you could take from the bottom to the top of the education building, and it would take you those 3 floors. But I was going up the hill the entire semester to get across the floor. So that, yes, I had great calves because I was walking that hill every single, 3 times a week.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah. She loved going to school there. She had a blast. And it is in a beautiful part of the country.
It's got a special place in my soul.
Yep.
I'm sure she shares it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And her sister ended up going there, which is where her sister met her husband. And then their oldest daughter went there. So many connections to Southwest Texas State. You went on to get your MBA at University of Houston in Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
I know very little about that school. How did you end up there?
So I ended up, my dad was a vet, and he had benefits that he passed on to me for education. And he called me and he said, "Hey, I just figured out that I can give you a master's degree if you want to go get it. But here's the catch. You have to get it before you turn 26.
Oh, no pressure there.
25.
Oh, you got it in 1 year? Impressive.
I called around and I said, okay, well, who will enroll me now? And how can I get this? And so what the Army did not pay for, Liberty Mutual did. And so I took an entire master's degree in a year. And University of Houston Victoria was able to allow me to take the coursework at such a warp speed to finish the MBA in literally 13 months.
Well, that was an intense year, wasn't it?
Yes. Thank God for my husband and my housekeeper.
Yeah. Was this online?
Some of it was, and then some of it was also face-to-face.
Where were you guys living at the time?
We were in Houston at the time, in Sugar Land. So I worked in Liberty Mutual in Sugar Land. And so sometimes I would go right after work to my face-to-face classes. Mm-hmm. And I would also get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and take classes. And then I would do a workout on my lunch break. And I also was promoted that year. So it was a very busy year in the Woolcock household.
Now, if the notes I found on you are correct, you really went to college to be able to work in the music industry.
I did.
Okay, so what was your grand plan?
I went to school actually at Texas State so that I could work in Texas country promoting like Texas country music. Mm. And I was pulled aside by my college mentor, and she said, "I don't know if you know this, but you're a salesman. You're a salesperson." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "Yeah." And she said, "If you want to do sales, I will teach you everything you need to know. And you can go to every concert you ever thought of," she said, "or you can go promote music." That's really like, okay. So next thing I knew, I was in her sales program, and she did teach me everything I needed to know and then some. And I really did find out that I really did love doing sales. And Liberty Mutual was one of the companies that partnered with Texas State sales program. And it came down to Coca-Cola and Liberty Mutual. And I realized, no, I think Liberty Mutual and insurance is really what I want to do. And along the way, I have truly fallen in love with insurance, which sounds very strange, I know, to people who are not in insurance. Because I know to many people, insurance sounds like plucking their eyeballs out would be better.
Yes.
I realize that, which is why it takes all kinds of kinds, and you can call me and I will handle it because I'm total insurance geek.
And that's exactly what we want from our insurance people is, can you just fix this or add this or make, so I like
Right.
that.
Total geek over it.
There you go. Hey, that's who we want on our side. Then, all right, let's go back to country music concerts. What was the first one you went to?
My very first country music concert was Leanne Rimes when I was 4 years old.
Nice. Okay. What do you remember of that?
Not a whole lot.
Okay. Do you remember
But the
going?
next one that I went to was Reba McEntire, and I remember all of that. She wore 13 different outfits.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. And what's
I
the
was impressed.
what's the best concert you've ever been to?
Hands down, George Strait.
Yeah. Yep.
Second to that, Garth.
Okay. All right. I like that. Who haven't you seen live?
We actually just talked about this weekend. I want to go see Dolly Parton.
Is she still performing?
She is, but only in like the UK.
Well, so, okay, folks, here's our mission today. We need to send some referrals to Libby to get some new clients to pay for a trip to the UK to go to a Dolly concert. So we're all on the hook
I
for
need
that
to go back to
today.
Europe to go see Dolly.
I like that. Do
I had to go to
you,
Boston to see George, so why not Europe to see Dolly?
why not? Do you think you missed out on anything by not being a country music promoter?
No, I
Okay.
don't. I don't.
But would have been cool, but you've been to a fair number of concerts, yes.
Yeah.
The other connection we have is Sugarland. So again, let's think before you were born, okay? So we moved there in 89. We lived there 89 to 93. And our youngest son was born in Fort Bend Community Hospital. And I worked for what was then Home Sports Entertainment, which is now Fox Sports Southwest. And a couple things from Houston. One is, so we moved away in 93, so that's 29, 30 years ago, right?
You missed the ice storm of 94.
Well, yes, I did. But I've still have not experienced Houston hot since I've left Houston because it's brutal there, the heat. And I miss the food.
Oh, yeah.
And I see on, and I was thinking over the weekends, like, can I find out where in Sugar Land we lived? I'm like, it's not going to matter. So, because I won't know where you live because I don't remember the town much. But I did see where you worked at Papacitos.
Mm-hmm.
And for folks, if you've never been to Texas and you really want good food, Papacitos, it's the Papa family, Papas or Papa family. Mm-hmm. And my wife loved Papa Do's, and I love Papacitos, and you couldn't go wrong with either.
Nope.
So
They have
what
a
was
whole slew of restaurants there.
So was that a high school job for you?
High school and college.
Nice.
I started there when I was 17.
Yeah.
And I worked all the way until I started working for Real Liberty Mutual. Those are really the only two jobs I've ever had.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Then how did you guys move to Sugar Land?
My dad started working for a dealership there. It was Bill Hurd when we moved there, and now it's Classic Chevy. And so we moved there when I was, probably 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really grew up in and around Sugar Land. And I went to Austin High School there in Sugar Land. They say the sweetest girls in the world are from Sugar Land, so I guess I'm born and bred.
Yep.
And but it was a great town to grow up in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very diverse, very
Yes.
beautiful city. I loved growing up there, and I have very fond memories there. It's changed a lot, just like you said. It's grown a lot.
Yeah.
Like there's a baseball team there now.
There is, yeah.
It's huge. And I grow back and I'm like, okay, I know my way around, but everything's a little bit different.
Yep.
Being gone for 5 years, so it's all grown up a little bit, but the people are still fabulous. And I have wonderful family still there and friends that are still there that we get to go visit. But it's still a beautiful little town, and I can't say enough about it. I really loved it.
Yeah, I think the neighborhood we lived in was at the time zone for Fort Bend. Now, things changed, and we had we had a 4-year-old and a newborn, so it would have been a while. But I did love Houston. I moved to Texas single and left with a wife and 2 sons, so very, very connected to the state of Texas. I loved it.
Your wife sounds fabulous.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just saying, you know, Texas State alumni,
Yeah,
Texas woman.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I outkicked my coverage, as they say. But yes, but thankfully I got a job in Austin because we met and got married in Austin. And she got there a year before I did. She graduated college and had been working in Austin for a year. And I got a job at the University of Texas, and we met about a year and a half later, running in the same crowd and never been in the same place. And yeah, so it was good to go from that moment on. So I do like that. So Libby, are you named after anybody?
My mom and my dad chose my name. My legal name is Elizabeth with an S, not a Z. So it's misspelled all the time. And they chose that name because it means gift from God. And my parents had a difficult time having children. I have an older brother who unfortunately was stillborn. Oh. And so they were very grateful just to have one child and have me be healthy. And it was a difficult pregnancy for my mom. She had preeclampsia and among other things. And so I was born 6 weeks early as well. Mm-hmm. And so they named me Elizabeth, gift from God, and that stuck. So back to country music, I was 12 years old when we went to Nashville for the first time for me to sing. And they were trying to get my brand ready. And I was on Music Row, and they said, Elizabeth is too long. Yep. And my maiden name is Williams. And they said, we got to keep Williams so that, we got to keep Williams. It's a good last name in this town. But they said, Beth is too short. And Lizzie McGuire was really popular at the time, so they could not keep that as a shortened stage name. And so they said, what about Libby? Libby sounds good. Libby sounds great on stage. So we'll just call you Libby Williams. And that'll be your name from here on out.
Wow.
So at 12 years old, I went from Elizabeth down to Libby, and it stuck.
How close were you to, if you had a contract, how close were you to being a singer?
I did a lot of demo work in Nashville. And so I won't say that I was like knocking on any doors or anything crazy, but I was trying to knock on doors. I was getting there. And I was doing a lot of work up there, but it was ultimately something that I found out was not what I wanted to do. I enjoyed the business part more than I enjoyed being the product. And so I realized that I wanted to sell the product. I didn't want to be the product. And I walked away, and I never went back.
That's probably the roots of you being a salesperson, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you sing much these days?
I do in church, but that's
cool.
about it.
Right. And that's good that you get your fix doing that?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's what I was made for, to sing in church, and that's what I use my voice for.
Is that why you're a fan of reality shows? Do you watch the music shows and just grade everybody like Simon Cowell does?
No. Because I know the background of how they work. I don't. And I will say I was chosen to be on Star Search the very last season before it was canceled. Wow. And so that's the one where I'm like, this is just all strange how this all works out.
Nice. That would have been interesting. Where was that? Was that being filmed out in L.A.?
I was, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So did you sing around Sugar Land?
I did.
What kind of?
I sang all around Texas.
Okay. What kind of cool places did you end up singing at?
The coolest one I think was Johnny High's Opry. So there's an Opry circuit in Texas, which is actually a really cool circuit that you get to know when you're there. It's invite only out there. So when you get to a certain place, your name is kind of known, and you get invited to these different places. And the names that had been invited to that Opry were like Miranda Lambert and Casey Musgraves, and a couple of different ones that at that point were really up and coming. And Miranda Lambert had just hit the scene. And so when I got invited to that one, I was like, ooh, this is cool. I feel cool.
God, I can
You know?
imagine you being in the tabloids on your third marriage and us reading about you and go, who is this woman and why 3 times?
Why is she such a mess?
Who knows? It could have been you, right, Libby?
It could have been me.
Chris is glad it didn't happen, but
I'm sure glad it didn't happen.
yeah, it's funny that you say you would rather sell the product than be the product, because usually it's people who have a passion and they want to turn it into a business, find out the passion goes away pretty fast.
Yeah. It is interesting that I loved music. Don't get me wrong. I still do love music, but finding out though that I was not the one that I needed my face on the side of the 18-wheeler, and I didn't need my face on the albums and all those things. It was a lot of stress that I just was not prepared for at that age, and I don't think I ever would have been prepared for that, frankly.
Yeah.
But now even in my business, like I brand my agency, and I love that this agency has, Comparion and has my name attached to it. And I love the work that I've done to have people say, no, you want to go to Libby. Libby's the one who can build these policies for you, because I've worked really hard to know all the knowledge that I have and have the experience that I have and have all the letters behind my name, right? And I do like that. I love what I do, and there's not any pressure on me though to keep this afloat though, because it's all been done organically.
Nice.
And I've learned along the way how to build this business and how to really serve my clients, I think. And luckily, my clients have really learned that I'm here to serve them.
Yep. No,
and
I like
keep
that.
coming back.
All right, let's put a little bow on you and Chris here, because we got to it a little bit earlier than I normally get to, because I always ask people, and I think you pretty much answered it, how did you meet your spouse? And you both tell the story the same way. So would Chris tell it the same way, that he dropped the L word and you kept breaking up with him?
He's a little bit more dramatic about it than I am, but yes.
What makes him more dramatic about it? Does it still bother him to this day?
He's like, and then she broke up with me. And he's like, and then the third time, I wasn't going to tell her. I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah.
And he's right. He wasn't. He was like, no, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. I learned my lesson.
Yeah. Not till I see you at the altar will I tell you I love you,
so
honey.
the third time I had to do it, and I will say this, the third time around 3 months, which is around the time that like I always was like, nope. He was like, why don't we go see my parents? Well, his parents were living in the United Kingdom at the time.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
So I had to hop on a plane and cross an ocean to go see his parents. And I, of course, had met them, but I had never spent like that much time with them. And they're fabulous people, and I adore them. But when you're 19 years old, and I don't think I might have been 18 years old, but when you're crossing an ocean to go spend 2 weeks with people, and you're like, okay, this is either going to be really good or really bad. Thankfully, it was really good.
So you guys met when you were 12. What grade is that? 6th grade?
I was in 7th grade and
7th grade.
9th grade, and I was the middle schooler dating the high schooler. It was scandalous.
You were made for country music right there. You were scandalous long before you were popular. Yeah.
It was scandalous.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So the first real date was where?
At the movie theater. We went and saw The Ring.
Oh, jeez. Tell me, you at least held hands in the theater, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because I was scared.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. And when did you know this was going to work out and this was a good thing?
When I was 20 years old, and I was like, this is Chris Wilcock when he texted me.
Yeah. Hey, he gets a point. He gets a point for finding you, doesn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
He surely gets a point for tenacity and resilience.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we guys, when we find somebody we want to hang out with, we will do things to do that, to make that happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good for Chris.
And thank God for it.
Yeah. Otherwise, who knows what schmuck you'd be married to right now? Would you and I even be talking?
I wouldn't be married. I'll just say that. I wouldn't be married.
I like that. I like that. So, all right, folks, if this storm did not get your attention for your home and auto insurance, It should. So reach out to your agent. If you're not happy with what you hear or you don't have an agent, please reach out to Libby. We have put her number on the screen here throughout the show. So give her a buzz. Even if you've already got a policy, she'll answer your questions. That much I know. And we'll help you out. And it's just you want somebody to look at it. Or first of all, make sure you look at it. First of all, find it. It's sure it's saved in a file somewhere, somehow. But you might want to pull that out and look at it. So that's their homework assignment for the week, right, Libby?
Yeah, find it.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do. Just find it. That's the first thing.
Yeah, okay. And then step number 2 for the weekend is look at it.
Call me.
Yes, there you go. And call Libby. So, Libby, it's been a blast. Love the stories. I did not see this country music singer story coming about, but that's why I love this show, because I learn something new every week. So, anyways, I've enjoyed having you on the show. Good luck with the insurance world and your chapter, the Hall of Famers. And, folks, you don't need to be in Fayetteville to come visit this chapter. It is Zoom only every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. So if you want to meet a fun bunch of folks and get some business done, please join her Hall of Famers chapter. And Libby, I'm sure, I think I'll either see you guys this week or next week on Zoom on my visit.
Yes, sir.
Right? And we'll see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.
It brings that natural laughter already. So we do that as a little warm-up, and then we'll do a couple of really nice deep breaths. So let's do that together. I love it on Zoom. I feel like I'm giving everyone a hug. So let's do a nice deep breath in. And if you're happy to hold it, do. If you're gonna, pass out, don't. Just breathe when you need to. So we're breathing out when you're ready. We'll do a second one of those. Let's do a nice deep breath in. And hold if you're happy to again. And breathing out when you're ready. Nice. So our third step, if you remember, is our childlike playfulness. So at the end of some of our exercises, we'll go, very good, yay! And we'll do it 2 times. I always think it's that kind of enthusiasm of a 5-year-old winning the race at sports day, which is something I never did until 30 odd, and I cheated in a 3-legged race with my daughter. But anyway, we still only got 3rd, but we did it. We made the leaderboard. So we go, well, let's do it together. We go, very good, yay!
Yes! Yay!
And one more time, very good, yay!
Very good, yay!
And what I love about laughter yoga is it's nearly as adaptable as my CrossFit classes. We've had a girl, she's an absolute regular, she's a trooper, she's a brilliant homeopath and a researcher. She comes along regularly, and she broke her elbow, so she couldn't reach up. So you can do very good, yay! You can do little ones, you can imagine it. You don't have to be, doing everything all the time. So even if you're just thinking about laughing, we've got so much research around the visualization for athletes. You're getting those benefits. So if you can't even actually laugh, you're still going to get the benefits from thinking about laughing. So anyone can join in, whatever their ability and capacity. So our 4th step, our laughter yoga exercise, is the juicy bit in the sandwich filling. This bit, we're bringing that playfulness to ourselves. lots of the, let's start with Namaste Laughter. Laughter yoga originated in India. So we should greet each other and we will do this and laugh at the same time. So hey guys, just let's go laugh. Oh my goodness, you do get oh, beautiful. So let's go with our very goods to mark the end of our exercise. I will go. Very good, very good. Yay!
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 Very good, very good. Yay!
I won more.
Very good. Very, very good.
Yay!
Yay! Chanel! I'm not.
Yay!
Yay!
Oh,
Hey!
you said it was going to be stopping it that there was a problem, didn't you?
You know, this video is going to be banned by YouTube because people are too happy.
Reason to be banned. We should put some doom and gloom in there so everyone still watches it. So let's do milkshake laughter. So this originated as lassi laughter, and I presume it was when it spread to the States, it became milkshake laughter. I like to go with green smoothie laughter or mocktail laughter. My daughter Bet, I couldn't do a year of not drinking about 4 years ago, and I'm loving it. 5 years, I think. So mine's a mocktail, but since it's imaginary, it could be anything, couldn't it? But we'll do milkshake laughter to start. So we haven't got a brilliant high-powered blender. We're going to pour it to mix. So I'll just demonstrate and then we'll do it together. We're going to go eep, eep, and a third one, eep, and then we're going to drink it. And while we drink it, we're going to laugh. So let's get our pouring vessels ready. Thanks, guys. You're just all brilliant, by the way. It's lovely to laugh with you. So let's pour. Eep. And again. Eep. And one last more. Eep. And let's drink.
Well, it definitely makes your stomach muscles twitch.
Can you feel it?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, so I can keep going, but we can chat.
That
Deepak.
when we are laughing, our tears are coming from the outside of eye, and we are when crying from the grief, then our drops are coming from the inside of the eye.
Gosh, I had never thought about that. It's a really beautiful.
When we are laughing, the tears are coming from the outside, and we are weeping from a grief. The tears will come from the inside. That is the actual physiology of our body. And when you are not clapping from two hands, just clap from the one hand.
Mm-hmm.
You can listen then. I am doing every morning for 2 and 3 minutes, and that is working for.
You look a little funny though.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't get past what it looks like.
in my childhood, I listened that nobody can clap with a one hand. Then I started clapping from the one hand. This is my clapping.
But that's going to stimulate so many acupressure points, isn't it?
This will increase your peripheral circulation, and you can listen the voice from my hand. This is a clapping from my one hand and a single hand, and this is from my one hand, and this is from this is the actual laughter yoga.
It's
This is
brilliant. I love
wonderful.
it.
I think this is the happiest show on our health in. And yes, Amnan is said true that YouTube may be the jealous from us that we are all are laughing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh, this is
okay,
really cool.
I'm going to ask a question, but I don't know exactly how to ask it. But I'm just going to ask, so because it involves laughter. So I know that there, and maybe it's age. Sometimes when you do a lot of laughing, you have, not just your eyes are tearing, but you're kind of excreting. Does that have, what is that? How does that relate to anything that we're talking about?
I guess. I mean, I'm just curious whether laughter yoga would help toning and to have less excreting there. I have a great friend that does pelvic floor Pilates classes, Adore Your Floor class, she calls it. So I don't know. I haven't had experience with anyone in the classes having that issue. To be fair, I can't bounce on a trampoline for very long. My daughter's always like, Mom, for goodness sake. Like, yeah, but you caused that issue, love. So but laughing has never been an issue, even though trampolining doesn't work for me. So I don't know, but I would guess it may well help actually the gentle toning there.
Interesting. As we were talking, and I was just wondering, because a lot of people, will have that experience, and so that they stop from laughing. But if it strengthens your core, then maybe there's something that could help. So this has been great.
I can't give us a link to a study or any, but that would be really interesting to look at and find out about. So what was I going to say? Oh, just one sec. Hang on. Sorry.
Yeah. Let me interject here at this point for one moment, please.
Can I come to the studio
I would like to just for a moment just a minute before we go on, I would like to hand over to Chanel for a moment, because for those of you, most of you don't know, but we have a sponsor for the show, and Chanel's going to tell us a little bit about our sponsor here today. So off you go, Chanel.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to let you know that we are working very closely with the International Academy of Classical Homeopathy. And we just did a great interview with Christina Horvath. I didn't know that was going to be a tongue twister. And Danielle Honeywell. It is on both our Facebook page and on our website. So go and check that out. It's about their North American program. It's a 3-year program, and it will help you write your exams for CCH and is accredited. So definitely go and check that out. And if you have any questions or they're not answered in that, you can definitely reach out to me and I can put you in contact directly with Daniel. And back over to Uta.
Can I just mention before we go back to Uta? Thank you. That was beautiful to be right next to Marilyn's comment as well, because I've had some lovely success with homeopathy and urinary incontinence in women in particular, but probably because women consult you more than men anyway. But yeah, so maybe that paired with laughter yoga can be a great tool as well. So it was nice to have the two things together there. Yeah. Thank you, Uta.
Perfect. Yeah, sure, of course. I was going to give you the floor anyway, so would you like to share with us how people can reach you? I mean, without doubt, maybe you will have more people wanting to join your sessions, your laughter sessions, and if someone's in need of a talented homeopath, they can contact you. Tell us a bit where people can find you.
So my website's emmacolley.co.uk. On there, there's a lot of information. I do like to write, so there's a tab for homeopathy. There's also a tab on there for laughter yoga, and underneath the laughter yoga tab, there's laughter yoga sessions, which has the Zoom links to the sessions that I'm doing. So that's it, really. It's really, really easy and straightforward. Just emmacolley.co.uk, and just all on there, really. So always happy to answer any questions by email or phone, and that's it. It's gone quickly, hasn't it? It's gone. Really can't believe how quickly the time has gone.
Yeah,
Chatting with you guys has been gorgeous.
It zooms.
We've been laughing.
It always helps. So Uta, you want to talk about some HWC stuff and anything that's coming up?
Yes, things are exciting at HWC. We're transitioning into a new membership scheme come September. So watch out for that. We have some events coming up this month. Chanel, help me, please. What's coming up next?
I didn't know them either. That's why I came to you. Couldn't think of the date. Go ahead. It takes multiple
That's
heads.
why I had to refer to Chanel.
So so Chanel is the crazy glue.
All together, it all makes sense when we're all together. Otherwise, it's chaos, I think. We do have a spiritual wellness coming up on the 29th, I believe. The 23rd, I lied. The 23rd at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be discussing practitioner burnout and what that means for us. And we never talk about it in complementary health because we're almost expected to not burn out and always be healthy. So we're getting together and we're discussing that. So please join us. That is the 23rd of July